who have connected with us for today's session. I am Manata Singh, and it is my privilege to be your host for today as we dive into this deeply relevant and essential topic: respect, consent, and professional boundaries, a POSH perspective. There is a powerful truth that perfectly introduces today's theme. A workplace thrives not just on productivity, but on the dignity and safety of every individual within it. Understanding the legal and ethical framework of the POSH Act is not just about compliance, it is about building a culture of mutual respect, clear boundaries, and informed consent. Today, we will explore how these principles translate into everyday professional conduct and why they are non negotiable for a healthy work environment. It is my distinct honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for this evening, Mr. Raman Verma. Mr. Verma is an advocate, a certified IPR specialist, and a renowned POSH trainer. He is dedicated to assisting startups, businesses, and creators in securing trademarks, protecting copyrights, and enforcing their intellectual assets. Beyond his expertise in intellectual property rights, Mr. Verma is deeply committed to workplace safety and compliance. He helps organizations across industries to achieve POSH compliance and maintain a legally safe workplace. Additionally, with over a year of experience as a paralegal supporting US law firms, he brings a comprehensive and global perspective to legal operations. His practice is known for being efficient, accurate, and client focused, and we are incredibly fortunate to have him here with us today to demystify the legal and practical aspects of the POSH Act and its importance in our professional lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Raman Verma.
Thank you
Over
so
to
much.
you.
Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction. Well, the today's session would be, two-way. I guess yesterday you also had another webinar with another guest. I hope maximum of you were there also. So the today's session would be more about preventions and, sharing the experience of the people, what kind of cases they are under the POSH law, right? So let me just share my screen first. I hope you can see the screen now. Okay, so I know maximum time you have heard about the POSH Act and compliance of the POSH law in India. So I wanted to ask you this question, like how many of you know that it is like a compliance not only for the organization, but it is also for the NGOs are being also included. If you don't know, let me tell you, even if you are an NGO or you have a club or any other organization, you are come under the ambit of, POSH law. There are some cases, like every day, there are at least 1, 2, 3 cases which I heard about, POSH law and sexual harassment at workplace. And if we are talking about the international perspectives, I recently got a client from international USA client, and she wanted me to have a session on the POSH law. Not the POSH law, but sexual harassment at workplace as a consultation and what we can do there also. So it is not only happening in India, but it is also happening in the United Nations and other countries also. So today's agenda would be regarding the understanding of Sexual Harassment Act, legal framework, mandatory POSH compliance checklist, what count as a workplace, some case example and case scenarios, impact of the sexual harassment. Then we will talk about the internal committees, complaint mechanism, inquiry process, protection against retaliation, role of management and leaders, and role of employees, volunteers, and then at the end, we will talk about the preventive measures and the Q&A questions you can ask anytime if you have. So before we begin, I would like to, think as your workplace. Do you feel like it is a same workplace as your home, or a workplace where, you feel comfortable around your friends and family members? Is this kind of workplace you are living in, or are you being, treated with the same respect as you are being respected at your home or around your friends? So the session would be all about it. So every law starts with, with a courageous story. I have heard so many stories, but this is the most, you know, uh, heartwarming story I've ever heard. Banavri Devi. She was a social worker working in Rajasthan, and she, was, doing a great work from, doing a child protection, as well as, prohibiting child marriages in the Rajasthan. What happened that there was some community in Rajasthan who didn't like this aspect of it, and they went on, gone on the retaliation side, and they raped her. And the session court said that the lower upper caste women cannot be raped, by raped. So this kind of thing we always see not only in the courts but also in our workplace also. So after that, group of NGOs and members came together and filed a case under the Vishakha guidelines. There we got about and had a proper significance about sexual harassment. After that, we have an apparel export versus AK Chopra case, where not it was held that not only we have sexual harassment in a physical way, it can be through a non-verbal way too. After that, 2013, the POSH Act was enacted, in which that there was a mandate made by the act that if you have more than 10 member in your organization, you have to have a internal complaint committee. So let's talk about a scenario. A scenario where a program manager tells a junior to file and a field coordinator, you have done a great work. Let's discuss the promotion over dinner this weekend, just two of us only. He repeated this request twice. The coordinator feels uncomfortable, but does not refuse due to the fear of losing opportunity in the organization. So here is the question of law which comes. Has any law been broken yet? What should she do? What if you are in such a place and we feel such a thing? What should you do? And then comes our, if you were in a colleague, like if you are a friend or you are a colleague, what you will do in such situation. So this session will teach you about these questions only. Then comes who comes under the POSH law. So there is a like a confusion. Who comes in the protection is the women's only or the males are also being come under this POSH law. So under section 2 we talk about that the POSH law is for the women's only, and the transgender who themselves think of as a women, or a transgender who represent them as a women are covered under the ambit of POSH law. So what kind of employees are we are talking about under the POSH law? So we talk about the permanent women's also, contractual or a temporary employee, part-time workers and daily wages workers, interns and your trainees, domestic workers like you get your house helps. They are also considered as working in your workplace. Then comes your volunteers, consultant, foreign national and Indian, and government private sector and employees. The question here arises: what if what to do when sexual harassment has been done with a male? So whenever a posh sexual harassment is done with a male, then there is a separate thing. This situation goes to the employees code of conduct, not in the POSH law. Although the man can be a respondent under the POSH law, even if you are a female. If you are being harassed by a female, then also you can file a complaint against a female faculty or a member in your organization. Then comes our mandatory compliance, your POSH checklist for your organization or for your institution. You should know about and you should have. The number one is, awareness training. Like today, we are having an awareness session about the POSH law. This is needed to be there every year or quarterly. We need to conduct this kind of session. Then comes our, employees awareness training, new employees training, manager and supervisor training. Like some of my, clients have asked, should the founders and senior management should also come have a session on the POSH? I say yes. to have a separate session about the POSH law. Then comes our POSH policies, in which we draft about the POSH policy accordingly the organization wants, and accordingly the requirement of the institution. And let me have questions, I guess. Sir, but nowadays in the name of independence and the freedom of a women, 50 to 60% of cases are fake about the posh impact and the work on the social life of men in home and at office. So why even the Apex Code do not take a concerned steps toward the betterment of the women and the rights of monetary, the compensation remedies and mental psychological agony of the social insult? Yes, you are right. Recently, like 5 to 6 days back, there is a Delhi High Court judgment came out uh, regarding the under the POSH law. There was like a person can be suspended from that workplace. And court said that POSH law is not has no authority to suspend or remove from the organization. The person who is being a perpetrator is needed to be filed a POSH complaint against it. If you need to suspend or remove from that person from the organization, you need to follow the employee code of conduct and employees contract. So the question you had like 50 to 60% cases, it is more than that. I have like a data of 75% cases being faked by the women under the POSH, and its impact is severe. And what retaliation comes from women senior management also, as well as from the men's sides also. So the Apex Code, what should they do is that POSH law is only for the female, but there needs to have organization responsibility to have a gender neutral policy. If the organization have a gender neutral policy, these kind of situation may come less. And if you're talking about the remedies as well as the compensation organization should give, they should give like monetary as well as 1 or 2 3 days or a month break from the organization, or change his department to some other organization. So these kind of remedies can be given to the person, even if it's a male. It is although it is a responsibility of the employer to do, it is not a responsibility of the court to take in a consideration, but it is more responsibility towards the organization because they hold more power. I hope I have given a justifiable answer to you, Anuj.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So another thing which we are talking about, the gender neutral policy right now. So in every organization, you must establish a gender neutral policy for males as well as the females, so that there is a balance of power and a balance of justice to each member in the organization. Then comes our POSH handbook. Usually, these kind of handbooks, you have a very less legal, contents, and more general more general English language, so that the organization members can understand what POSH law is. Then comes our POSH display kit. Usually, I never see this kind of, displays about the zero tolerance toward POSH law in any organization, and even in the institution, educational institution also. Even I am a student of law. I have never seen in my law college about having displaying about the, zero tolerance toward the POSH. So this display should be, cover under our notice. Like if you have a notice board, you should reflect there. If you have, your own website, you should, tell your engineers about that. Publish our, internal committee at the website. Have our, POSH policy uploaded in our website, so that everyone can get access to it. So these kind of things you can also develop there. Another thing is that you can also promote yourself in the, nowadays social media is there. You have a social media accounts. You should make an, handle or a highlight about the POSH law and a zero tolerance toward the POSH law. So this is like a good thing to do. And fifth point is the she box registration. So the she box registration, it is a website governed by the central government, and the central government has done such a great job to have this kind of website. And this website, you can file a complaint. You can directly, without any hassle, even if you feel a very sensible towards certain things, you can directly go to the Shebox portal, register a complaint. It requires a basic information about you, and this is and in this process, the complaint directly goes towards the. Yes, you can ask a question if you want to. Someone has just unmuted. Okay, if two co-workers message each other late at night on their personal phone, how does the law decide if the counts as a workplace issue under the POSH? So the two co-workers you are talking about messaging, so it is like a slightly depends upon what kind of message it is. Like if it is a workplace or work related query, you can ask. But if you're talking a personal thing or a personal communication you're doing, so it will come under the ambit of POSH law, because under the Employees Code of Conduct, you cannot have a personal relationship with your employees or with your co-workers. So, workplace counts it as a under the POSH law, because the thing is that you are, breaching the privacy as well as breaching the time period of a certain person. So if you are a co-worker and messaging at a late night, it will come under the POSH law ambit. Even if you do a personal phone call also, until and unless it is not a work-related query, I always request never to have any other kind of relationship with your employees at the workplace, always. So next come our POSH sample documents. The compliance which you should follow is that you must have a documentation, drafts about the POSH law, how to register a complaints, how to file a complaint, how to write a witness statements. So these kind of things should be there. Then comes our annual report filing. Every organization, even if you are NGO, you are any other community or a trust, you should have a annual report filing, even if you do not have a single case of POSH. Reason behind it is that to have a compliance checklist, and another reason is to know the authority that there has not been any sexual harassment case at your organization. So this annual report filing is to be done before district officer, DC of your particular district, and you can also file it directly through email, or you can go to the post office and directly circulate that mail to them. Then comes our annual board report filing. Recently many corporates and MNCs, what they are doing is that they are, having this compliance under this annual board report every year, so that this compliance being meeten up at a proper manner. Then comes what counts as a workplace. So someone asked the question right now. So your office building, your client office and home, company vehicles, office canteens and cafeteria, business travels, even if you're traveling for a business purpose, that will also cover in the workplace. Then comes our virtual, online space like today we are having, or on a WhatsApp call you are with, or in a Zoom call or Google Meet. Then comes our office party. Sometimes, people generally ask why office party we are including in the workplace. It is just a party and a formal communication. It is not we are not working in the office party, but you are in the premises of the office. That's why the office party and events come under it, because the organization is, inviting you at a place to have a function and offsite, so you come under the ambit of POSH. Then comes our social media work related. So if your social media, like your LinkedIn professional account is there, and someone tries have a very bad kind of thing saying to you, or you have any professional group, like your foundation have a particular group for you. So these kind of, things comes under the workplace, where which under the POSH law. Then comes our examples and a case scenario. It is like a very good case, which I got from, from an NGO. So a person a project coordinator at the NGO, stayed at a late night at the office with a senior colleague to complete an urgent presentation. After a work, he offers a dinner and drop her home. During the dinner, he behaves inappropriately by touching her hands and making her personal compliments. She tries to ignore it first, but when he suggested that sharing a dessert from the same bowl to build a closer bond, she firmly refused it and reminded him that, we are just a colleague. While dropping her home, he escalated the situation by grabbing her from the waist and expressing her personal feelings. She avoided the confrontation at that moment and leave safely and ignores his repeated call from the late night calls. The next day, he again approaches her, inviting her to the dinner and saying that he is waiting for her answer. She firmly refuses and states that she wants to have a professional relationship. Despite this, he pressure her by hinting that being friendly could help her gain a better opportunity at a higher position of the organization. So, what you think, that does it amount to a sexual harassment? And if it amounts to a sexual harassment, at what period you think that it started being, sexually harassed by, the senior project manager? Okay, we do not have a yes. Okay. And I was just saying yes. So answer is yes. So the reason behind it is the moment he grabbed her from the waist. Yes. The moment because the physical touch which he did was wrong. Then comes our, the repeated advancement he did after refusing. Then comes our, quid pro quo. It is like when you, give someone an, better growth opportunity in exchange of, a sexual favor. So this is called as a quid pro quo. Then comes our, there are two types of sexual harassment. One we discussed right now, quid pro quo, and another is hostile environment. The project coordinator also created a, hostile environment for the female staff because of, multiple approaches and, suggesting to be friendly with him. So the quid pro quo is like a threat given to you for a job loss or a promise for a better, a work opportunity for sexual favors. Then comes our, hostile environment. The hostile environment is like, commenting on your body or your body parts, or, there is a sexual colored remarks towards you. If someone is, touching you, etc. These comes under the two types of sexual harassment. Then comes our, virtual sexual harassment. It is like, personal comments on your social media, stalking you on your social media continuously, sending you inappropriate messages, asking you to come to the virtual meetings at the late night, or forcing her to, come on a video call on WhatsApp, or, on virtual call, you are doing something inappropriate, or, you are getting, uh, making that person feel uncomfortable, comes under the ambit of virtual sexual harassment. Then comes our impact over the sexual harassment. So the impact which is created, it is over your, emotional trauma is there, your mental health is affected, your career gets impacted, and, low moral, high turnover, like your workplace get also affected because it is happening in your organization. That's why. So the question here arises that intention versus the impact. So under the Dr. Puneet K. Sodhi versus Union of India, 2010, the Delhi High Court established a principle, a landmark judgment that the intention is immaterial over an act done by a person done in a sexual harassment way, which has impacted the women. Be considered. Thing is that your intention can be good or a bad, it doesn't matter, but the impact which you have created over the female staff is a concern. Now, the thing is that the intention, sometimes, question asked by me is that, Raman, we usually joke about, certain things with our friends, and suddenly we get, a posh complaint about us. So I always say that don't do, jokes around your, under your organization when you are in your building or when you are in your, at your workplace. Keep your jokes to yourself and have a professional relationship in the organization. Like we have a question or a yeah. So next come our uh, internal committees, internal complaint committees. So there are two types of committees we have. One is for the organization, private organization, or you have a public organization. So if you have more than 10 members, then you need to have a internal complaint committee. For it is the duty of the employer to make this internal committee and have the appropriate members in it. Then comes, what if we do not have our 10 members in our organization? Where should we go? Then you have your local complaint committee. In the local complaint committee, it is formed by our district collector, where you have less than 10 members. And you can, approach directly through, calls, or you can directly to their offices so that you can file your complaint to them. Then comes our structure of internal committee. So minimum members we required is four, in which your senior officer needs to be a presiding officer and then needs to have two employers and one external members. So the external member is a person who has a knowledge or an experience over the women empowerment issues, or he has been working with the children from past 5 years, or he is a legal professional in the labor or some criminal courts, or he is working with an NGO who represent women related issues, or he is associated with any other issue related to the women causes. So the person with the legal experience and certified posture as of myself can be an external member. So now the question arises here is that how many percentage of females needed to be here. So according to the POSH law, we need to have at least 50% of females in our internal committee. Then comes our structure of local committee. So in the local committee, we have the highest member as a chairperson. She needs to be a woman. She needs to be a social worker committing for the cause of women. And then comes our, one woman from your, basically from your district or a block level or a taluka level, so that the complaint should be meet. Then comes your two members from your NGOs or any other organization which represent females and children's or work for the women causes. Then comes your ex officio members who deals with the same thing, this social welfare for the women's as well as children. So these kind of things comes under the structure of local committee. Even if you are legal representatives or a person who have a legal knowledge about the POSH law, come under this structure of local committee also. Then comes, like, we have two questions. Respected sir, could you please confirm whether the PPT of the session will be provided or the recording? The recording would be provided, PPT would not be. Okay, then comes our, complaint mechanism. Who can complain? What is the structure? What if it is a disguised grievance and the comments a simple remark and Okay. You can guys unmute also if you want to ask a question. But if it is a disguised grievance and the comment is a simple remark and a constructive criticism for the betterment of the person. Okay. So I got your question, Prerna. The thing is that it will be whenever you file a POSH complaint. It is not that the internal committee will directly give a notice to the perpetrator. Your complaint will be made only after knowing the facts and knowing what actually happened. Only if the person has given you a criticism or the constructive criticism, then it will not come under the ambit of POSH law, because in a workplace this kind of criticism or a hard grievance, such kind of grievances is not considered under the POSH law. It needs to be a, like if we take an example, we need to take like I am being a boss and I criticize you that no, you are not doing this work properly, and you only do watch yourself in camera and make videos and see yourself and see your face that does not do a proper job. So this is like a constructive criticism. When it will go wrong, when it will be not be a constructive criticism, when I will say that you look in a very wrong way. I'm looking you in a very wrong way. I am seeing you in a very wrong way, and I am like asking you some favors so that for your betterment. So these kind of things come under the in the ambit of POSH law, not the constructive criticism. Then comes said the Supreme Court ruled that the Durgesh Kumar case that the external member on the POSH committee and must be 100% independent. But in the reality, many companies just hire their regular company lawyers, friends, or friend of the boss, save money finishing the paperwork. My question is, if an employee proves in the court that this is an independent member who was actually getting paid on regular legal fees by the company management, won't the court cancel the entire committee and throw out every decision they ever made? How can an organization practically stop the bias from running their whole inquiry? So you have like two questions. First of all, yes, you are right. If the court find out that you have employed, the external member needs to be an independent. That is a very correct thing you said. And second thing, if the court find out the internal committee report will be entirely rejected, third thing, if you the thing is that you can pay the external member for the training purpose only, not for employment, or there should not be any kind of money involved directly or indirectly with that person who is an external member. That's why that person needs to be a person from an NGO or a person from some other organization, like in the Himachal High Court we have a external member who is working with the NGO only. So these kind of things need to be considered. All right, I guess Manish, I have answered your question correctly. So stopping such kind of practices from biasness from the whole uh, organization is that we need to take POSH law very seriously. What organization is doing in this biasness is that they are just fulfilling their compliances. So to stop such kind of things, we need to have a report. I talked about the annual report. So such kind of thing needed to be reported in a proper way, that who are your internal complaint committee members. Whenever you file a annual report, it is the duty of district collector or and the person in the authority to check who being your internal committee members. First thing is to be step by step decision to be taken by the members of the organization. If you are an employee, please check your POSH policy. Please check your internal committee who are working with you, and who are your presiding officer, who are your external member. If you are not able to know about your external members, if he is getting any kind of benefit out of it, then talk to your, to your HR or any other person. Another thing which we can do for, this situation is that, like I talked about the, district collector, where we usually file our report every year. They should keep a check that who is their external officer. Is there any kind of, funding being given to you, given to them, or is there any kind of, a favoritism being given to them? And another thing we can do is that all we can do a time period, like every 2 year we can change our external member, or every year we can change our external member. This is like the three suggestion we have, which I can come with. I hope I have answered your like question, Manish Mishra. Okay, let's talk about the complaint mechanism and its procedure, how to handle a POSH complaint. So first of all, you need to have like a written, complaint. You have to give a proper reporting. If you are, victim, please write it down in a proper manner. In an email, to your HR, if you don't know your internal committee member or your presiding officer. So first of all, report it to your HR. But there is a time limit, right? It is not like you have a whole year you've been sexually harassed. There is a time period. Like within the 3 months, you can file that complaint. Even if you have, crossed that time period of 3 months, still the POSH law give you 3 months more time period, but you need to give us sufficient reason. Like I was, depressed, I was going through a depression, I was going through, say, a mental disorder, something like that. You have to give a valid reason, like you were doing something else. So you have to give that reason for, filing a complaint. After filing a complaint, there is like conciliation period where, it is initiated only the request of the aggrieved women. If the women wants to, settle this issue, then the conciliation period will be considered. Then comes our, inquiry process. So in the inquiry process, we have all our, officers, the like presiding officer, female. Then we have two members, one external member to become, and that external member needed to be paid. The reason behind paying the external member is at that period only, not like on a monthly salary basis. That external member would be paid by the employer only, or by the organization. So, the in this inquiry, like when the both the parties come, they need to have like a proper scenario to be told to their presiding officer to and to the internal committee. All the committee members should be, come together to listen to the complaint. Or if there is not a possibility for like external member to come to, then we can request have a suggestion that you record a session with the with our aggrieved women. Then comes our what to do at the period of when we are being sexually harassed and you file a complaint. So you can also ask for an interim relief, in which I had a case and a consultation with one of my friends. She got sexually harassed at the company in Delhi. So I suggested her that take an interim relief if you feel like not going to the organization and facing such problem in the organization. Ask them for a leave period, for a interim relief period for like 2 months or a 1 month time period or a week as so. After that, you can do another thing is that you can ask for a transferring of that person to another department, because recent judgment which came out is to be that you cannot fire that person or suspend that person from the organization directly. This is the latest. Before that, there was a situation like the company usually used to fire that person from the organization after the report has been finalized. But now recently, new judgment has came out. So the law changes forth and back every year. So we need to be updated about the every year. That's why the session is to be conducted every year. Reason behind it is. Then comes our, inquiry report. The inquiry report is to be filed within the 10 days of the completion. When once the, internal committee has finalized the report, they have like a 10-day period to submit this report to the employer. The total time period for the internal committee has 90 days, then the action is to be taken by the employer. The employer has like 60 days time period in which he needs to do some kind of, disciplinary action against the perpetrator. You can do his counseling. I always suggest to do a proper one-to-one counseling of that person. For the meantime, what your employer should do is that, transfer that person to another department, grant a leave to the, aggrieved women for the time being, and grant the compensation in a monetary way to the female. This is like a suggestion that the employer is taking some kind of action. So after that, what if the complaint is false? So the action is to be taken against such malicious complaint, or it is to be taken by the employer. Then is the a mere inability to prove such attacks and punishment is to be done by the employer only according to the employee's code of conduct. POSH law does not talk about the punishments here, so the or the compensation to be given to the false complaint, but the employee's code of conduct gives. That's why we need to have a POSH policy where we discuss about what kind of benefits to be given to the perpetrator for against the POSH complaint if there is a false complaint. What if there is like what kind of interim relief to be given to the aggrieved women? So these kind of things are to be considered. Then comes our confidentiality. This is to be taken in a consideration by the all the members in the organization, especially the internal committee members, that the person who is the aggrieved women and the perpetrator information should not go out in the organization to any person. If such information goes out, in some cases the court has given the penalty over the organization to pay like 50,000 rupees, sometimes 5,000 rupees, according to the organization revenue they generate. So confidentiality of both the person is taken a serious thing when you are in an inquiry process. Then comes our appeal. If you are not fulfilled by the internal complaint committee, you can revise that complaint. You can ask for a revision of inquiry again, or you can ask for a appeal. The appeal is to be filed within the 90 days period. It is you can go to the chief judicial magistrate where you can file this complaint. Like we have a question, let's see. Okay, thank you. Okay, there is a like a timeline which I was talking about, like 3 months time, right? Then is a conciliation period if the aggrieved woman wants. Then there is an inquiry process timeline of 90 days. Then we have inquiry reported to be within 10 days of the completion of inquiry. Then the employer has 60 days. Then if you want to go on an appeal, then you have like a 90 days, to file an appeal. The POSH complaint is, ideally resolved within the 150 days. 90 days period is for the inquiry, and 60 days is for the action period taken by the employer. So we are talking about the inquiry processes. So what is the proper stage of the inquiry process, how it takes? So first of all, there is an initial stage where there is an introductory call with the both the parties, the perpetrator and the aggrieved women. Then there is an interim relief assessment. Should we give that person a interim relief or not? Is that actually come under the ambit of sexual harassment or not? Then comes our examination of the both the parties. You can take an oral testament or a written testament from them. Then comes our examination of the witnesses within your organization. That can be done in a both way, like in a oral or a written way. Then comes cross examining the our witnesses as well as our aggrieved women and the perpetrator about the situation and the facts. Then comes our, closing and calling arguments, where we finally summarize, the facts in our report. Like I talked about the documentation, but that we need to file in a particular certain way, how to file a documentation. So this need to be taken in consideration. Then comes our deliberate finding needs to be done by the panel. The decision is to be made by the panel only, not a single person The decision should not be made by the single person. The decision should be made collectively by the all the members in the panel, all the four. If you have four minimum members in your internal committee, the answer should be made accordingly. Then comes our final inquiry report, which is to be given directly to the employer, the time period which we talked about. Then comes our protection against retaliation. Okay, sir, on what bias Ida Khan in the Pune thesis cases, taking defense and advocate, contesting a case for what changes an employee's code of conduct to India corporate. So in this case, like the TCS case which you are talking about, which came recently. So, the case is about sexual harassment at the workplace, and there are new findings coming out that this is earlier coming out in religious matter also, and there is a issue of employees code of conduct also. So the MNCs, what they needs to understand is that first of all the employee needs to understand that first thing is that you need to have to build a proper relationship with the other members. You have to create a proper environment when you are in the organization. Do not be too friendly with your colleagues. Second thing is that MNC needs to educate or provide a proper training sessions for organization, like within every 6 months. Uh, and another thing which I suggestion is for the MNC is has always been to provide not only the training session to the internal committees or your employers, but also to your staff members, like your security guards, your supporting staffs in your office, so that sexual harassment at workplace is being educated throughout. Then another suggestion for the MNCs would be indulging indulging the male staff also, because what happen is that I have seen aviation employees. What they do is that they do not come up in the POSH sessions or POSH training also. So this needs to be made a mandatory. A proper attendance needed to be made, and it needed to be made a attractive session between the employer and employee, so that the question should be answered and the answer should become. And then there needs to be have like a virtual session or a physical session within the organization, where the new cases like TCS case which came out, this kind of thing is being answered properly. Then comes our protection against retaliation. So the protection against retaliation needed to be there. Like if your employer or if your boss is there, like if your boss has sexually harassed the employee, so how we can protect that person, how the retaliation goes. So posh law say if the person is retaliating against you or victimizing you or probating you and causing any kind of deduction in your salaries and does not talk to you proper manner and escalating things in the organization, you can file another complaint against that person under the employees code of conduct also. And you can file this report if you feel that the organization is not doing injustice to you and is doing injustice toward your respect to your respect, then you can file directly to the she box complaint. And this she box, what it is, this is like a very good portal where the she box directly give this complaint to your HR department or to your nodal officer in your organization or your HR department, so that this complaint directly being evaluated through online mode also. If you are not satisfied with the complaints, you can also always have a simultaneously you can file a criminal case against such person who has sexually harassed you. Or if there is like you need like a retaliation is in such a manner that you fear your job and you fear your fear that that person can harm you physically, you can ask for the interim relief from the organization, directly email about such a situation, and does and you are not does not need to come to the office if you feel threatened by such person. And you can report to your local police as well as your NCW is there, National Commission of Women is there, and you can call at 181. This is a women helpline number. So these kind of things you can do. So you need to be get protected against such kind of retaliation if it whenever it comes. Then comes what is the role of management and the leaders to take place. First of all, you need to listen to the complaint. What majorly happens that whenever the sexual harassment comes, the management wants to does not want to come out or to accept such kind of things. They want to do a conciliation, mediation as much as possible, and does not like to listen to the complaints. Then comes your understanding part, understanding that complaint, checking the facts about the complaint, checking it with witnesses. I always suggest them see your CCTV cameras, see your Slack, see your emails, see your Teams or Outlook where the email is going on. So you can check also all kind of dates and information so that the complaint is genuine or not. Then comes your documentation part needed to be taken place. Then comes is that you should inform your internal complaint committee. Like if you are in a management like HR, whosoever is your internal complaint committee members, you should call them, all of them, to the organization and have a meeting at a separate room. And your employees should not know about that you are having you receive a sexual harassment complaint, so that the environment keeps safe. Your organizations does not have any kind of retaliation against you, or the members do not work properly. So such kind of complaints needed to take place in a proper office and in a in a separate place where no one is there. I always ask the complaints to be taken place after office hours. Like maximum of corporate office works like throughout whole day, like 10 p.m. is like max, which I see. But sometimes they have like a night shift, like in the BPO's company. So what I suggest that have a proper board meeting, like you have a board member rooms, or you have a proper room of a HR department. You can go there, talk about this situation in a personal space. Then comes your recommendation and remedies. Like you can ask the person to apologize in a written way. You can cut the person's salaries also from the for that month also. So these kind of things you can provide. Then is like if you are a management, you also need to give that person a medical aid, like provide a counseling session to that person if she wants or not. So you need to do such things, and you also need to ensure that you are supporting throughout this journey with her, like telling her what the report is, what are the is the notice has been served, what is the next step which will the internal committee will take, so that to maintain and to have a proper ongoing support to her, so that there is a proper compliance towards her also. Then comes our roles of employees, volunteers, and field work. So now you are an employee, right? And you are a volunteer in an NGO. What should you do? What should be your role? So the first role you should be is to maintain a professional relationship with each other. Behave in a proper manner. If there is a woman, do take consent. Always take a consent or respect their boundaries. Do not touch that women, or do an inappropriate gesture towards them, to avoid any kind of problem. Then comes our inappropriate conducts. If you are conducting like any kind of you are watching anything or a sexual content at your organization and in your field, you shouldn't do that. So these kind of things need to be stopped. Then comes your you need to be, if there is a sexual harassment being done with your employer or within your organization, so report it to your employer. If your employer is not listening to you, file a complaint, ask the ask that person who the aggrieved person that you should file this complaint to the she box registration or to the authorities any other place. You are the first thing you should do is to support that person who has been an aggrieved woman. Then is to report that situation in a proper manner, in a proper channel. First of all, you go to employer. If your employer doesn't listen to you, then there is a local committee. Then is your police. You have a she box portal, as well as you have women helpline number. You have these kind of many things which where you can file these kind of complaints. Then is your supporting colleagues. Whenever such a situation comes, you need to support your colleagues always. Then comes your corporate inquiries. To if you do not cooperate in the inquiries, even if you have witnessed, you feel like you don't want to witness against, if that is your friend, then you are being part of that sexual harassment. Never follow a bystander towards posh law. Then comes our preventive measures. The preventive measure is to take place like quarterly, have a internal committee meetups, have a awareness session quarterly, display about the posh policy at a place where it everyone can see, like at your notice board, at your entrance, on your website, on your Instagram handles, Facebook handles, social media handles. Then comes our monitoring your posh policy, because as your numbers grow in the organization, your policy needs to be changed. New laws come, so you're drafting your new policies as to be taken consideration. Like before, like in 2016 or 18 around, posh policy was drafted only for the women's only were considered. But now we see that there is a change. There is a gender neutral policy being drafted by the organization, so that the male staff is being protected under the Sexual Harassment Act. Then comes our clarifying the complaint mechanism. Like if you have a complaint, you need to report it in a proper manner. Clarify to your to the annual report that you had this much complaints, you have registered, you have done this much compliance toward it, you have this much training. So these kind of things needed to be done by the organization. Then is to encourage your employees, even outside your employer. If you have like supporting staff members, like your cab drivers are there, if you have like your security guards, you should also indulge with them, educate them about posh law and sexual harassment at workplace. Then comes our ensuring the timeline action and then confidentiality, which needed to be take place at the first thing when you are doing an inquiry process. So these are some kind of preventive measures which needed to take place in the consideration. Then comes remedies and consequences. So remedies we have discussed before. First thing is to transfer, to give that aggrieved women a leave, the compensation you can given by the organization, to maintain confidentiality. Even you can file a criminal case. Like in the section 14, you can filing a false complaint can also carry a serious consequences, like written warning will be given to you. Even you can be dismissed from your position, or you can be demotion can be done to you. So these kind of things can be done towards you. Like other than salary deduction, suspension is now being not taken by the consideration according to the new judgment by the Delhi High Court. But before this judgment, the suspension was also made, the termination was also made. And although you can file a criminal complaint at any time, earlier it was IPC, now it is BNS Act. Well, then there is like a 10 takeaways you should, have or should remember whenever you are in an organization or even if you are in an institution, you are, still starting, or you are in like a NGO, like we had session with the NGO today. So you should always ensure that your organization is following proper compliance. Ask them about their POSH policies. Always ask them about how many training session you have. Ask them about what kind of procedure they follow, what kind of policy they have. Then comes our intentions. Your joking doesn't care if you joke around employ around your employees in a very wrong way. It will never be considered, even if it is was a joke. The law doesn't care about the jokes. It cares about the what kind of impact you have created over the person. Then comes our workplace, includes your vehicles, your client office, virtual spaces, and your office parties also. Like if you have a domestic helper, like you have a house worker, like I had a house worker, so they are also considered under the POSH law, because they are being employed. So if a housekeeper is a independent person, so she is being employed by me, so I am her employee. So where she can go if such kind of things happen to her, so she can go to the local committee, the local complaint committee. She can go there. Another thing, she can file a case under the shebox registration, or she can dial a helpline number 181, or she can mail it to the NCW. NCW usually take 15 to 20 days to respond, but they actually respond to such complaints. Then comes like, even if you have made a single incident or a joke about it, yeah, it is also still considered under the POSH law. You have like a 3 months period to file a complaint, although you are given like a more than 3 months more, but you have to take a time period also in a consideration under the POSH law. Then comes your confidentiality. It is a mandatory to have a confidentiality about the perpetrator as well as the aggrieved women, and the bystanders. You, like in the organization, if you are silent about the sexual harassment acts, this kind of things needed to be stopped, and you need to speak up about it. Then comes your POSH. Case can be filed simultaneously in your or within your organization also, and you can file a case in the court also. If there is any kind of retaliation taking place, you can report in your organization, or you can report in your if you file a criminal case there also. You are awarded accordingly regarding the retaliation given or taken place in your organization. And then comes your 10th point, is that a safe workplace is built by a culture, not just by a compliance. So your culture is being you represent the culture, and you represent your organization. So any question, like someone has asked? Kindly provide us the recording and PPT of the session and the WhatsApp group. Okay. If anyone have any question regarding it, so I can answer it right now. So from my side, I have concluded this session. Thank you so much for coming. And I have a closing thoughts. If you do not get credit, you usually don't get credit for harassing your colleagues, but you do get a credit for creating a workplace where no such experience has been made. And that work start today, and this work starts with you. And if you see such kind of harassment, don't be a bystander, or don't be silent about it. Always encourage your, the aggrieved women about it to approach to a proper authority. Like you can go to the women helpline number 181, you can go to the WCD office, or you can go to your internal complaint committee, local complaint committee authority. Now we have like a she box registration. You can go there also. So the POSH is entirely women's protection in law. What about the protection of the men at workplace? So the women's who you are correct, but I have also told about the the scope of protection is also given to the transgender who represent themselves as a women, are being also protected. And about the men at the workplace, the men's, for them, we need to have a gender neutral policy. So whenever we draft a gender neutral policy, we always, tell what kind of situation or what kind of things we will be, doing if such kind of harassment been done by the women staff. Although the POSH law does not cover the men, another thing which a man can do is to file a report to the HR, and the action is taken place according to the employment's code of conduct. So that if you every organization have a separate employer code of conduct, and they have to follow. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you have any other question, I can answer it. From my side, I have concluded this session. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening session. I hope that every participant, everyone in the audience have learned a lot from today's session. And you have answered so many questions with such clarity, depth, and patience. We sincerely appreciate your time and your invaluable contribution. And your contribution has made this episode a deeply enriching experience for every participant.
If anyone have any questions, you can ask me. Oh, sorry, I haven't shared the feedback form. Sorry. There is like an assessment for form also, and the feedback form for also for you.
With this insightful and enriching session, we now come to the conclusion of today's program. On behalf of Naksh Foundation and Project Cyber Shield, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Raman Verma for delivering such an engaging, informative, and thought-provoking session. Cyber safety begins with awareness, and awareness begins with you. Through this initiative, anyone can become a change maker by conducting cyber awareness sessions in their own communities and helping people stay safe online. If you're ready to make an impact and be a part of this mission, simply scan the QR code which is displayed on your screens and fill out the registration form for Volunteer for Your Community campaign 2026. This is the QR code. People who are interested can scan the QR code and register for the same. With that, we conclude today's session on respect, consent, and professional boundaries, a POSH perspective. Please ensure that you submit the post-assessment form by scanning QR display. As successful completion and submission of these forms is mandatory for the issuance of participation certificates. And if there is any query regarding session or the certificates, you can email at event@naksh.org. Thank you all for being a part of this learning journey. We look forward to welcoming you again in our upcoming sessions. Until then, stay informed, stay vigilant, stay secure, and continue contributing towards a safer and more resilient professional world. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye, take care, and have a wonderful evening ahead.
That two links and the QR code also.
Yeah, sure. We will share in the chat box.
The post-assessment form is shared in the chat box. Everyone, please fill out the form for proper attendance and issuance of certificates.